Good weekend, all. Ira Epstein of Linn & Associates with your metal market wrap-up, your weekend edition. And this is for Friday, April 9th, 2021. I've got allergies galore, so if my eyes burst or start tearing, it's not the markets, okay? But boy, in the Midwest here, we've been in the 60s to 80 degrees in Chicago. Today in the 60s, but the trees, the grass, pollen is going crazy, and as much as I take all the medicine ahead of time and build up immunity, it can get bad at this time of the year. So a big up day in the stock market. Metals gave back a bit after yesterday's stellar gains in them. The dollar index fairly stable along with other currencies today. Bonds and notes picking back up a little bit of yield. They've lost an awful lot of it in the past week. And we can see pretty flat in the energy market. So if we look at a monthly chart of gold, it fell back from over the $2,000 level back to the 18-week average of closes, and it's fighting its battle there. For those of you that have taken my full charting course, this is what I call the line in the sand. And markets often do exactly this as they try to figure out what's going on. Now, this would fit in to the idea that if the market can build an uptrend here, that was the correction and that was it. I don't know. I can tell you that right now the trend is down. The bias of the market with the close at 1743.30 is over the 18-week average, so the bias is up and momentum is pointing down. It won't take much to keep the bias down if you slip under that average, but downside potential to 1448, it's there. I can't argue it, but it's going to be hard to get to. When you look at a weekly chart, now remember, that was your monthly. Now we're going to the weekly chart of closes. The resistance is back towards the 1798 level. So if you're just looking for a reason to be long, it isn't here. Bias is down. When you go to a weekly bar chart, what did we do? Well, we made a higher high than that whole area. So what it did on the swing line is it turned them bullish. You now have higher lows and higher highs. So until you take out 1676.5, last week's low, you've got a bullish pattern. It's countered, unfortunately, because you're under that 18-week average of closes. The market didn't quite get to the 100-week moving average of closes, but it certainly got to the Bollinger Bands, and they were unable to stay under it for any length of time. And again, that's part of what's in my new Bollinger Band course, where I spent the last 3 to 5 years putting all the stuff I've learned in there, things you've not seen about Bollinger Bands and trading ideas off of them. So that's on our website under the word education. But in any case, higher lows, higher highs, support between these two numbers, that's formidable. So if you're going to rally, where might you get the power to? Well, maybe you get to that 1798.30 and have to fight a battle there. You are oversold. Are you embedded? No, just oversold. So you have a market that for any reason at any point to get back to neutral can do it like that by just getting up to 1798.30, and from there after the fact will develop an uptrend. That becomes the big question that we're all wondering about. In my newsletter this morning that I give to the full research subscribers, I showed how the money has been leaving gold and going into Bitcoin. Now, can I tell you that the dollar for dollar that's coming out of gold is all going to Bitcoin or another cryptocurrency? Of course not. But I can tell you that it's money leaving gold, money finding its way into these cryptos. You can argue it any way you want, but that seems to be what the new generation of traders believe in. Okay, don't fight them. Go with the crowd. Don't fight the crowd. You don't need to be right. You just need to be right in following markets. Gold-silver ratio, as long as you stay under this, ultimately silver is stronger than gold. Now, certainly day to day it changes on little ways. In silver, you're still very much in a downtrend. So unlike gold, which has now got the swing line up, you're still here with lower highs, lower lows, which means resistance to me is at 25.83. You're in an oversold condition. You've hit your downside target. A bounce, That's where I think it would go. To negate the downtrend, you've got to take out 2653. It's a broad swinging market, frankly, between the upper Bollinger Band and here. Remember this one spike that you had? Do you remember what that was? Ever think of the word Reddit? That was when they were going to squeeze silver. Okay, that didn't work out too well. Don't get me wrong, a lot of these Reddit trades have worked. You take a look, your momentum's down here, but copper's just hanging in. And if you go to the daily charts, they have been just sideways as can be. You still have a pattern of higher lows, but lower highs. The legacy's the higher lows, but I've been telling traders, this market, you need a psychiatrist to trade it. And you tell me, go look at your daily chart, that I haven't been right on that one. I get my share of wrong ones too, believe me. You don't have to believe me. Believe me. Platinum. Lower highs, higher lows. Momentum down, bias up, trend up. Okay, very difficult to market with all that. And notice where it finished for the week, right off the lows of the week. So while the market had a neat run and got over that high, it couldn't hold it in any manner. Support, it's going to climb here very quickly. It's 1138.80 on the weekly chart right now, but each week it's moving about $7 higher. Actually $10 higher around there. So we'll see. This market could easily be up and over this 1143.80, which means a break should have good support against that low. That's how I'd view it. You need to get rid of this downward momentum. In the dollar index, I was looking for a failure up against the upper Bollinger Band. Said that last week. Right here, then you had this week, and now you had 2 weeks in a row. It was not an upside breakout. In order to have an upside breakout, you got to close in the top quadrant of each one of those weeks. You didn't do it, and you pulled back. Okay, so you have an overbought market in an uptrend. Could be more lolly-dollying around. Oh, excuse me, that's the news right there. So that's pretty much how I'm viewing the market. It's just sort of swinging back and forth. Are the metals exciting here? No. I wish I could tell you that they were, but they're not. They will be. Just give the market a chance. As for the Bollinger Band course and my new views and all that on the market, well, take a look at this. I think you'll get an education. Welcome. I'm Ira Epstein, and I'm here to talk about my enhanced Bollinger Band course. Now, many of you have taken my regular charting course, and if not, you might think you know something about Bollinger Bands. As you know, Bollinger Bands are an algorithm designed to keep the market trading within it 95% of the time, and on a chart it will offer on the top part resistance, on the bottom support, and the idea is the market will travel within them. We know that sometimes it latches onto that band, goes up or goes down. Well, how do you play with that? Can you pyramid the positions off that type of thinking? Well, I've applied all three of these into 13 different videos that teach you my concept of it. And from that concept, you're able to work with weekly charts and or daily charts. The 13 videos, each about 7 minutes long. The idea here is not to put you in school forever, but to teach. Now, if you haven't tried my complete futures research, I throw that in as well. Whether you've tried this or not, I think it's worth taking a look at. I think you're going to learn something from there. That research, by the way, covers twice daily market updates for you and access to what I call window envelope numbers, which I think are very important when looking at these Bollinger Bands. The next part is a trial to our charting software so you can make your charts look the same way that mine do. It's that simple. Where do you go with it and how do you get all this? It's simple. You go to our website, www.iraepstein.com. If you go to the word education, everything you need is answered there. You can also call my staff. They'll be happy to help you get set up. I'm Ira Epstein, on the road to your education.